Hey there guys, Elton here, showing you a view that I rarely ever shown in any of my videos. This is the back of my apartment building here, or the side of it I guess you could say, and there's some neighbors, but more importantly it's frickin' snowing, for Christ's sake. It's fucking snowing already. Just like in the past 2 years. Hey, winter, as soon as November comes, boom, we're into winter. Just like that. Anyway, coming to you not live from my room, where, as I've shown before, if you haven't seen this installment, this is where, as you can see, most of my photos are, and the rest are on my computer. They're digital. So now you see why I started making these videos. Yeah. That's a bunch of photos I took when I used to do photo shoots of old cars and write about old cars. That's a famous 77 Chrysler Cordoba. And yeah, come pick it up. $25, one of a kind. Come pick it up. Contact me, and I'm flexible. I can be available whenever. And Gloria loves the camera. Look. Hey, you like the camera? Who's a good kitty cat? Psst. Who's a good Gloria? Meow. Meow. What are you looking over there for? Okay. Anyway. Okay, so, yeah, let me show you some of my old pics here. Something I pulled out last week to get it ready to do today. Most of these pics are, judging by the yellowing there from when I used to be a smoker, looks like about, they look like they're about 15, 20 years old. Okay, this envelope is actually, they're so old, those pictures, that this is just a more modern envelope that's just a few years old. Alright, here we go. So, scene at the famous orange julep. Beautiful. Oh my god. 71, 72. I think it's a 71 Pontiac Luxury Le Mans. Rare, with defender skirts in the back. Top of the line Le Mans. Very cool. And I saw this car a couple of years ago at Granby. And you know what's funny is I got a ride to Granby in a 74, a very rare 74 AMC Matador X, and then we parked next to this guy, and I never remembered to make a video of it, so some other time. Look at this. This is weird that I happen to have this photo in here, because this photo, first of all, if I remember right, it was published in Collectible Automobile magazine, again, like, oh my god, 20 years ago, in the Car Spotter section. I used to love that section, and then I saw this car, no joke, yesterday. I hadn't seen this fucking car in like 20 years almost. Last time I saw it was 2002. No, sorry, that's when I took this picture, 2002, but I first saw it in 99 in NDG, where I used to live, or Westmount or something. And this was actually in Old Montreal. It's a 67 Mercury Comet. I think it's a Villager. And imagine, I saw this car yesterday, and it didn't click right away because the car was like this crappy yellow repaint. And then the guy comes out, the owner is all friendly, he's got his work boots on, he's working, I don't remember what. And he had a beautiful Mercedes SL from, I think, 79, but this really blew my mind to see this car. 200 cubic inch 6-cylinder. Speaking of 60s, here's a 1969 Mercury Cougar XR7. Awesome picture of the julep. Again, none of this stuff I'm showing you is digital. This is all 35mm. This was taken with a Yashica. Man, you know, sometimes I get confused though when I look at this model and the 70, because they look alike, you know, they look so much alike, but the grille, no, that's different. This was a friend of mine's car. Speaking of rare, this is even rarer. 69 AMC Ambassador DPL wagon, 343 V8. I even got the chance to drive this thing a little bit, not on the street, but you know, in a parking lot, whatever. Very cool. I don't know. This was like, I think, in La Chenère or something, just off the island of Montreal. A lot of miles on this car we put on. Lots of fun. Drove it all over the States there. We went to the Kenosha, the 100th anniversary show of American Motors in Kenosha, Wisconsin, where they were made in 2002. It was great. We had a blast, this car. Just wonderful. 57 Dodge Coronet and Sherburne, Vermont. They had this beautiful car show. It's just too bad. I don't know what it was. That's spring 2002, again, with my friend James, who had that Rambler. Of course, they weren't called Ramblers at that point in '69, but anyway, this show was terrific cars, but just cold and just cloudy, and it's too bad. But it's a good show. Very nice car. There's my old '78 Chevrolet Caprice Classic. This car was absolutely full load. This car had every option you can imagine. It even had the the anti-sway bar F41 upgrade. It had power everything, and just 350, and what a cruiser. I mean, this thing, anyway, this is behind my place in NDG, and oh, by the way, all these photos can be bought, $2 each, that's all. No, I'm sorry, this was in 2006. This was, I think, in 2003? I'm trying to think when the hell this was again. 2002. Never saw this car again, I think. 65 GTO. It was at Le Scratch in Pierrefonds here in Montreal. Yeah, it's beautiful GTO. 65 Chevy Bel Air in Laval, Quebec, 2001. I went with my friend Martin. This is better. Yeah, like I was saying, it was a very dry summer. You can always tell by the grass, eh? That's what the grass looks like in Southern California, because it practically never rains. Alright, so now we got here a 74 or 75 Chrysler Newport. Yeah, for sure this car was repainted, but it was kept original. And it's got the black tinted windows. Where was this? St. Catherine Street. Yeah, about 20 years ago, or 19. Look at the vehicles in the back. Look at that weird Mitsubishi. Check out that truck there. I think it's a so-called Peterbilt. Look, there's even an Alfa Romeo there in the background. And oddly enough, years later, I ended up doing a mural in the restaurant right there where my thumb is, that La Belle Province restaurant. And then, unfortunately, it didn't last. Those Greek cousins, they sold it. And bye-bye murals. But anyway, that's life. Anyway, so moving on, more 60s cars. Yeah, 60s cars, if you wonder why there's so many of them, well, there's one of the big reasons. There's two reasons why. Number one, they built so fucking many of them. I mean, that's when the car companies, especially American car companies, and it's funny, I happen to fall in the Mustang, because this 65 Mustang alone, they made almost 800,000 in 1 year. 1 year. It's incredible. So that gives you an idea of how the economy, how it was so strong that Chevrolet alone in the 60s, all their full-size cars, that means the Impala, the Bel Air, the Biscaynes, like seriously, almost every year they sold like a fucking million of those cars. A million! Think about that. Anyway, this was at the, again, the Scratch was the name of the bar, the show that in Pierrefonds, Roxborough. This was in 2001. At another car show, but off island of Montreal in the South Shore at a restaurant called Le Bec Sucré, I think in St. Catherine. This was a friend of mine, my friend John Mayer, 67 Beaumont. But Johnny, I don't know, he had an offer or something, a job offer, and he moved down to the old Toyota. Went down the old 401, like Stompin' Tom would say. Very cool, all original car, 283 V8, two-door post. Those two-door posts are not easy to find today. A close friend of mine that I have to reconciliate with one day used to own that blue 53 Ford Custom Line, which was parked next to this guy here. This guy, we were friends, and I'm like, man, I had to get the opportunity to take a couple of pictures of these two 53 Ford Custom Lines. Oddly enough, working man's car at that time in a working class neighborhood of Montreal in the Saint-Henri district, very old district. 2003, 2004. And in the same district, in Saint Henri, here's a friend, again, my friend's 53 Ford Custom line with, oddly enough, a 53 Chevy, I don't know, a 150 Bel Air dump truck just went up my street there, or a truck anyway. Look at this. Here's a very rare car. Check this out. This was in, oh, I don't remember when the hell this was. I think this was in like 2000, yeah, 2002, I think. And it was a Allard sports car. Well, I see, that's the thing. This camera gets hot. Then it doesn't want to focus anymore. There we go. What an amazing car. And I saw this one or one like it at the Julep, the Orange Julep, I think last year or this year, and I don't know, I think I ran out of battery or something and I couldn't film it. Again, same Canada Day parade, 2002 on Pill Street, 76 or so, Cadillac Eldorado. It was supposed to be the last year of the convertible, but didn't take. At that same show, once again, here's a Ford Model A Phaeton. What year is it? I don't know, 27, 28, 29, 30. Oh, I love this Lincoln. Oh my God. I remember I was on the bus in San Francisco on, oh man, Divisadero Street. And here's this 68 Lincoln Continental. I mean, fuck, try to find one of these today, man. 68, 69, of all the years they made these suicide door Continentals, this boy stuff. These are they're probably some of the rarest ones. Here's a film with this camera because it stopped recording, but I'm probably gonna have to go with my other camera, I think, for the rest. I was gonna say that, you know, what's cool about showing these pics is that I have a feeling that, you know, one or some of you are gonna recognize some of these cars and will have a few things to say about them, about, you know, who had it, la la la, where is it now, you know, just whatever you do. Don't tell me it destroyed in a fire, whatever it may be, please. Even this, as common as this is, a 57 Chevy Bel Air Black on St. Catherine Street, I don't know, 2004, and exactly like the one in the famous movie Diner. I'm going to speed this up a little bit here. Here's a very rare 58 Studebaker. Very rare. Excuse me, 58 Packard, which was the last year for Packard. They had merged with Studebaker, but it was not successful as a venture together. Here's a, sorry, that was like 2003, 2004 in Chambly, Quebec. And here's a rare 61 Rambler Ambassador. Wow. Kenosha, Wisconsin, 100th anniversary American Motors, 2002. And here's a 38 Dodge with a 45 Fargo in 2002 in Oxford Mills, Ontario. Lovely little show. And then we have a, I think that's a 79 Ford Granada in Ville Saint Laurent here in Montreal in 99. Cool car. I wonder what happened to it. I love that original green. And speaking of which, here's a 79 Monarch that was owned by a best friend of mine. And then my brother needed a car, so my best friend, one of my best friends at the time who had this car, he sold it to my brother for for $400. Had a 302 V8, but my brother hated it and fucking got rid of it 2 weeks later. But here it is after I cleaned it all up at my dad's place in Pierrefonds on the Rue Ceres Street. Here's a man playing bagpipes at the Franklin Automobile Festival in Syracuse, New York, 2002. Franklin was known for having air-cooled engines. Franklin cars, yeah. And here's a 77, I think, Pontiac Grand Prix. Guy who owned it told me he drove this fucking thing to the Yukon. This picture was in 2001 in Stratford, Connecticut. And here's a friend of mine's car. This is a very rare and unusual 59 Tatra 603. These were Russian made. They were made for communist leaders only. This car used to be black. This picture I took, actually this picture is not that old. I took this I think a few years ago, or I don't know, 10 years ago, whatever. Hey, there we go, Howie. This one's for you, buddy. I hope you see this. There's your Concorde. There's your Concorde. There's your AMC Eagle, 1985, down there in Scarborough. And you can see my friend James Mays' '69 Ambassador wagon. That's how I met Howie, was through my friend James. And a lot of these AMC guys, they know each other, which is normal. And a lot of people here in southern Quebec know Francois Pigeon because if by chance he sees this, well, he's the man when it comes to fixing up American Motors cars. And also I'd like to give a shout out to my friend Antoine as well, who has an AMC Pacer, and so it's a given that he likes all American Motors cars. And here's a 60s, she's out of memory. So here's a 67 Plymouth Satellite. Now the light just went on. And this was at Bridgeport, Connecticut, 2000.